The guys that ran ragged on the main roster earlier this year have reunited. Yes, we are talking about the Hurt Business. But what is the direction for them from here? We're going to talk about it all in just a second, so stay tuned. This is Wrestle Extra.
Yo, 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 yo. Folks, this is WrstlXtra. I'm your boy A Dazzle, alongside my tag team partner, of course, Mix, the WrestleManiac, if you will.
Yep.
We're back. You are watching live on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel, and of course, listening on AffinityExtra.com. We're back. Sasha Banks is back. The Hurt Business is back. The Rock might come back. I don't know. Who knows? Someone's gonna come back. I don't know. For some reason, Goldberg's coming back too, but who cares? Folks, this is what we are. This is where we're at. We are here, of course, to talk about Sasha Banks, the Hurt Business, and all things black wrestling here on WrstlXtra, the only place to be to talk about black wrestling and black wrestling that draws. So let's go straight to yesterday. Last night on Raw, it was Big E versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. Only the 5th time in WWE history that 2 black men fought for the WWE Championship. Amazing. Of course, this is their 2nd match, but with Big E cashing in, is it a match? Do you count it as a match? You can argue it, but this was the actual match between the two. As Big E likes to put it, 2 meaty men slapping meat. The 2 big guys, 2 of the biggest guys in the company, Big E and Bobby Lashley, of course. It was a good match. Started out nice. Started out great, as what we expected from both of them. But one thing we didn't expect, we got excited about, was the return of Cedric Alexander. Listen, bro, hold it up high. Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Business, came to the aid of Bobby Lashley to reunite the trio of the Hurt Business. Of course, that brought out the other trio that were recently reunited, with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods coming out to help out their boy Big E, the New Day, of course. And we got the black on black crime that we wanted and expected and loved to see, for a change. In the New Day and the Hurt Business having a brawl. But then it all culminated and concluded in a steel cage match at the end of the show between Bobby Lashley and Mix is just showing off that he's got the t-shirt. And he ain't got me
I
one
can
yet.
wear it again. They're a thing again.
Of course. He's in. Yeah, man. Bro, this is it's crazy. It's crazy because even going back to Sunday, at normal rules, I mean Extreme Rules. Even at Extreme Rules, we had the New Day, Kofi Kingston, Big E, Xavier Woods, against Bobby Lashley and Omos and AJ Styles. It looked a bit like D12 in the ring with AJ Styles as Eminem. But we got a whole load of black wrestlers in a big match. And of course, yesterday was built since Extreme Rules. We had the opening match was the WWE Championship match. And then, again, the ending was the main event with those same 2 guys. A very similar thing to what we had last week. Obviously, throwing Roman Reigns as part of that as well. It's clear to see that the WWE are banking on black business right now.
Look,
And I say banking and black business with also Sasha Banks, but we'll talk about her in a little in a second. But yeah, man, hit me with your thoughts, your feelings, and the excitement that we're feeling right now, bro.
well, Talk of Champions has said it here in the chat. WWE heard we like black people. So
Trust me,
it's
trust me.
pretty much, Vince in his office. Oh, damn it, give him more black people. And yeah, that's what we're getting. But jokes aside, I don't think we talk a lot about AEW and the representation thing
Mhm,
there. We're going to talk about it again today, but I
mhm.
don't think this is necessarily a effort being made on WWE to do this kind of inclusion representation stuff.
No,
I genuinely
no,
think these are the best guys in the company right now to
yeah,
tell the
for sure.
story that they want to tell.
Mhm,
Reuniting the reuniting of the Hurt Business is great for us to see. But me, I know, and many others, I like story. I want to know why. I want to know how that come
mhm.
about. So yeah,
Yeah,
wait, give us Raw next week. I'm expecting some type of explanation, maybe, as to why
mhm.
Cedric and Shelton did. They were dismissed in a very bad, violent way, or something. You see what I mean? Like, so why have you come
Very
back?
true.
Just fill in that little plot hole. Maybe MVP sorted it out
Right.
while he's been out. I don't care what it is. Just give us that little
Mhm.
bit of story.
Just
Like you
tell us why.
said, yeah, exactly. Tell us why. The New Day reuniting, those guys never split. It was just they split by circumstance because of the last draft. So they were always gonna be back together on screen. Um, it's just a great time. Like for the last couple of weeks, Raw has actually felt like we're getting something here. Like, even if it's because
Mhm,
AEW is chasing them and running them close to their ratings and demographics and this, that, and the other. I don't care what the
mhm.
reason is because I don't care in TV ratings and stuff. I'm a fan and I want to just
Nah,
watch, good TV. And
mhm,
if you can say it's AEW, you can say it's Monday Night Football in America, whatever it is,
mhm.
they are somewhat pulling their finger out and trying to do something of reasonable quality. And yeah, the
Yes.
last couple weeks have been very good from from when we had the cash in to last week when Roman was on the show to this week where
Mhm,
we opened and closed with two, if you like, great WWE Championship matches.
mhm.
Even within the actual show on with the other stuff going on was really entertaining in some parts.
Really
So
entertaining in some parts.
yeah,
Um,
like you said, on the front, on the face of it, it looks like yeah they are banking heavily on black people to deliver, but from what I see, they're
mm,
doing a great job, and they are deservedly the ones in those positions to
right.
have to drive it forward, and yeah, they're doing a good job with it.
Um, I'm loving it too. I see exactly the same way as you in terms of it being not an effort for us. It's not Vince ticking the box and seeing the tweets from me or you or Restings or We Love Wrestling or the Jobber Tears podcast or anyone else.
Yeah,
It literally is just these are the guys that are making it work and have done the great stuff in the last year or so, and are just in the right place at the right time almost. Um, the one thing I must say, and you know me, I'm always one to kind of have a look, look at things a little different to everyone else, not get overly excited, not too quick, and all the rest of it.
under the
Um,
telescope.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the thing for me is, are we in? I think we're kind of getting this thing where we've had this a lot on Raw in the past anyway, but I'm now wondering, right? Are we getting this thing where we've got the big opening is also the big ending? Excuse the pun, that was not on purpose. Um, because we had Roman on there last week,
Yeah.
opened the show with the stare down and whatever else, and there was the 6-man tag. Obviously, Bobby Lashley came in and messed that up. That then turned into the triple threat main event at the end of the show. Are we getting? Are we kind of entering this whole thing where that's going to be a repetitive thing? So we open with whoever, we also close with whoever. Now, I did say that's not new to Raw. It's not.
Mm.
But in the days of old, when it was, I guess the thing that we loved to see it was more so a exchange of words between people, and then that would be
And
the
then the
main event,
match.
not a match that messes up and then we get the tag team match, or the tag team match that messes up and then we get the triple threat match.
Yeah.
If that was, swap Biggie and Bobby Lashley for Randy Orton and AJ Styles, for example, would we be complaining right now?
Yeah. Like I AJ Styles, even himself, he looks like they're heating him up. Obviously, ahead of the
Hey,
draft,
oh
maybe
God,
they plan to split him and Omos. And
yeah.
again, whether it's for Roman, whether it's for Big E, AJ Styles will be a phenomenal competitor. He put on a great match last night with Riddle.
He did. Oh gosh,
Um,
that was good.
but yeah, Raw has these little things that it does every now and again. I don't know if
Mm,
you remember, mate. I think it was sometime last year where they were doing like 2 out of 3 Falls matches like every week, so they can just accommodate like a advert in between without the
right.
advert, without the match finishing before the advert, or
Yeah.
some nonsense like that.
Yeah.
Before that, I think 2019, like every week there was a gauntlet match.
Mhm, mhm,
Like and now with this, what I've noticed actually for some time, and I'm probably wrong, I haven't fact checked this, but the last main event that I can remember that Raw announced before the show, this was going to main event Raw, was Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, when Drew McIntyre won the WWE Championship the week before Survivor Series last week, and then he went on to SmackDown to have that war of words with Roman. They
mhm,
don't announce main events.
mhm.
They just don't do it. Like they wait till the show, something develops during the show, and then you get the main event, which probably goes to the detriment of why people don't tune in to watch it so much, or drop out or when they're watching it, because they don't know what they're meant to stay here for. You see what I
Right,
mean? There's nothing, no
right,
main event.
right.
So they are now trying to put their biggest matches on first. A little thing that AEW have got a lot of joy from recently. Put
Mhm.
their biggest matches on first. In typical WWE style, we will never get a genuine finish.
Of course,
And
yes.
then it develops, like you said, into the main event match somehow, some way. So we're already
Mhm.
somewhat invested. We want to see how that main event will finish,
Of
depending who's
course.
involved. It's a weird little thing they do. And I'm like I say, I'm sure in maybe 3 months' time, they'll stop doing this and I'll find another weird thing to start doing.
Mhm, mhm.
Look at the 24/7 championship match between Ricochet and what's his face? Reggie.
Rich.
Didn't even have a finish. They're protecting the 24/7
That
champion.
that is crazy, bro. We'll talk about that in a second. That is crazy.
It's just one of these things with WWE, but yeah.
Um, it's not a bad idea to obviously start a show with a bang. In the times that I've done shows, and more kind of like music shows and concerts and whatever else, it wasn't a thing where you put the worst singer on or the not so well known
Yeah,
singer on first. You put a well known person on first to kick off the show correct.
yeah,
Put
exactly.
everyone else in the middle, and then end with another big name. So that makes sense. It's fine. It's a correct way to go about it. But I guess it becomes repetitive when when it happens every week for so long.
Mm.
And I think that would possibly, that would be my issue, if anything at all. But at the same time, we're getting more black people on our screen, more screen time. As we said, let's talk about Ricochet and Reggie going for it. I mean, come on. I was ready. I think even Corey Graves said it on commentary. He was expecting it to be more like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon
Hidden Dragon,
in a
yeah.
WWE match. You know what I mean? And it turned out to be like that. Obviously, we've had it's been a little bit of a criticism of Reggie. I think that he does is it's all acrobatics and not wrestling.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I get what people are saying, but I don't have a problem with that myself. It's who he is as well. But I don't when those other guys first started attacking Reggie, I was like, oh, we're not gonna get a finish to this match, and da, 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 da. But then I realized, hold on, they're protecting Reggie and Ricochet
Mm,
and the 24/7 championship.
mhm.
That's not a bad thing, as much as the 24/7 championship isn't, my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
For it to be those two is it's phenomenal. And then when we look on the other side of the wrestling world and look at AEW, we're kind of struggling to see who they want to make a star. Whereas with WWE, it's almost like who do they not want to make a star?
Yeah.
Um,
but
You know,
at the same
I don't
time,
know if it's a good thing, bad thing. What's your thought?
like this title, it's like from them doing it, it's like they want to add meaning to the title. Maybe they
Yes.
really rate Reggie or something, but then
Mm-mm.
Reggie doesn't traditionally wrestle, like you say. So is this a comedy title, or is this something you want us to take seriously? Don't
Right.
confuse your audience, because if you know, I don't even want Ricochet involved with this thing.
Yo, that scared me. I'll be honest. When I first heard, I was like,
A part of me died when I saw him walk
mm,
out as the challenger.
mm, mm,
I don't want him involved in this. He's above this, way above this. But
right.
I just feel like if Ricochet wasn't gonna win it, like fine, pin him, and okay, then we have the conversation about Ricochet's even getting pinned for the 24/7
Yeah,
title.
that's true.
But make it what it's meant to be. If it's meant to be a joke thing, treat it like a joke thing. Let the match, end with one of these spinny acrobatic moves or whatever, and
Mhm,
done. Like
mm, 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 mm.
protecting it or whatever the case is just
It's confusing, and
is very confusing.
that is true. That is true. It's very confusing. I mean, I'm glad Ricochet didn't get pinned.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also glad that Ricochet didn't win it, and Ricochet as 24/7 champion wouldn't make sense either.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
guess it is kind of the best finish it could have been. Um,
Just on that quickly, I
yeah, yeah.
honestly think, and I'll put forward a black name in like I don't know how people feel about this, but I'll say someone like
Mhm,
Omos. If
mhm.
Omos was to take that championship and do something mad with it, like dominant, like what Miro is doing, and that
Yeah.
literally eliminate everyone that came his way, it would
Mhm.
help give the championship some type of meaning if that's what they wanted to do.
Mm, mm, mm.
But again, I don't know what they want from this title.
I don't think they want to, or do I think they need to make it anything serious? It is what it is. It's there for what it's there to be. It has been for however long. It's basically our Truth's championship. Our Truth being the comedic guy who can still go. Um, yes, he could be used better. You know, as I said, he can still go. He could still be, very much a believable top mid carder if they wanted to go that way. But
Yeah,
at the same time, he's phenomenal with the comedy stuff. So let's keep him there and all the rest of it. What Reggie's been doing, it kind of has given it a little bit more meaning, or a little bit more serious because obviously he's now defended it in I think he's had at least 4, maybe 5 matches.
yeah, he's been on TV a lot.
I think our Truth didn't even have that many matches in the 56 20 million times he's held it.
Yeah, not
So that in
official.
itself is nice to see, but it still holds its comedic value, of course, with the
Yeah.
skits and all the rest of it that they do on a week to week, and all the stuff that happened yet even just yesterday. So it's a good thing for Reggie. It doesn't make the championship more meaningful necessarily, but at the same time, I don't think they're trying to do that. But to see Ricochet there, yeah, it was a little bit scary. It's a little bit scary. I hope it's the only week. It was nice to see the two guys that have the acrobatic skills that they have, and to just anticipate what they were going to do in the ring together, and all the rest of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Ricochet's been on main event, bro, for however many weeks and months. You know what I mean? Something needs to happen. Something better needs to happen with him. I don't know what the solution really is, how they do it, or how I'm expecting them to do it, should I say? Um, but yeah,
I mean, my suggestion, like we see this show 205 Live every week, right? Right. And
mhm.
205 Live, like we've mentioned before, it has now got guys on it that are over 205.
And the
So,
ladies as well.
and yeah, and ladies as well. So, like, I personally feel, especially with this new direction they're going of kind of trying to push homegrown people, this, that, and the
Mhm,
other, and the Giants, of course,
mhm.
just make 205 Live, maybe 205 Live again. There's a bunch of people in
Right, right,
NXT
right, right,
that
right.
Vince isn't going to use in NXT,
Mhm,
predominantly. He'll probably use them because they're, the old brigade, if you like, to get over the
mhm,
new guys. And then once the new guys are over, those guys are binned, more or
mhm,
less.
mhm,
They'll go to main roster to just sit down, or they just won't be used NXT.
mhm,
So
mhm.
make 205 Live the actual place for these, mid-range,
All the
physical
guys.
mid-range
Yeah,
guys,
yeah, yeah.
the guys of that ilk or that size,
Mhm,
put them there all in that kind of show, um and put the obviously the NXT Cruiserweight Championship back on that show
On
and
that
stuff,
show, right?
and yeah, just make that the base. Like, there's a lot of people that can do a lot of good work on that
Mm-hmm.
show. Like,
Mm-hmm.
make that the NXT of old again,
Right,
basically.
right, 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 right.
And yeah, use NXT as as your academy now to make
Mm-hmm.
your new stars sort of thing, because 205 Live is surely not really being watched, even for the new guys that are there. It's
Mm-hmm.
like people might be checking for them and stuff like that, like who's on the show, but it's like no
Mm-hmm.
one's invested in the show.
Nah, not at all.
So I think that could be a good. They've already got the show. They've already got the infrastructure. It's not asking them to do anything, that they're not
Mm-hmm.
already doing. They're already running the show. Just use it better. Put some of these guys over there and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Going all the way back to the start with Biggie and well, no, sorry, Bobby Lashley in the Hurt Business. You asked the question at the top of the show. What is the direction now? We've seen Goldberg via satellite on Zoom um, on Raw, and he was like, I'm Bobby Lashley, I'm coming for you. We know that Crown Jewel is coming up next, and we're expecting Goldberg and Bobby Lashley to go on that show.
Mm.
Will we now see that happen? Are we gonna see any kind of New Day Hurt Business thing carry on? We've also seen Drew McIntyre come out after Big E won. So what's next for both Bobby Lashley and Big E? Where are we going?
I mean, like I said, Bobby. We said this a couple of weeks ago. Bobby Lashley is set to take another loss at Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Then after that, it's Survivor Series. I really want them to just change up Survivor Series and do something different this year. All these factions and stuff you're clearly invested in. Let's have some faction
Mm,
warfare. Let's have war games on the actual Survivor Series pay-per-view. That would
yeah,
be different.
yeah,
Just do something different, because you change roster a month before, and then next month everyone needs to be,
that is
I
true.
love my brand. Like, give it a
That is
rest.
true.
Like, it doesn't even make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. That
I
is
just
very
came here. How could I be so loyal to this place?
right.
Like, so yeah, just change it up. Just do, like 4 horsewomen versus somebody, like,
Right.
the up and comers, Bianca, Rhea,
Mm,
Raquel
mm, mm.
Gonzalez, or whosoever. Like, just do something different. Beyond that, I just think he'll hang around the top. He'll be a good challenger to, the WWE champion, and maybe go back after
Mhm.
the United States Championship and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I'm just not quite sure why the infrastructure of Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, why they've decided to put it back with him now, because unless they're gonna try to use it to build him up again, or I'm not really sure why they've done it, but I'm not
Mm.
hating on it. I'm happy to see them, but
Yeah, of course.
yeah, it is what it is. Big E, I have to say, in the last 2 weeks since he's become champion, I am invested. Like, every time he's been on TV since then, and I know he's obviously in something quite heated with Bobby Lashley, we
Mhm.
have got serious Big E. And even with, the what do you call it? The everything around him of the New Day dancing and
Yeah,
messing around and stuff. It's very much serious. This is very much like how Kofi, when he had Biggie and Xavier
yeah, yeah.
dancing around him, he was
He
serious.
was
Like,
still serious. Right, right, right.
yeah, so yeah, absolutely loving Biggie. Getting to see him cut these promos where he's not trying to make people laugh or anything like that, and he's
Mhm.
just literally delivering a message. Like,
Mhm.
you wouldn't have known Biggie is such a strong talker
Yeah, true.
without something like this happening to him.
Mhm.
Um and he's literally just been great. I'm looking forward to it. The Drew thing seems a bit of I only say a spanner in the works, just because it looks like Drew's probably heading to SmackDown. So unless Big E has a quick WWE Championship match with Drew next week on Raw, and then
Mm.
Drew gets drafted straight after,
Very likely.
um,
Very likely. Very,
yeah,
very likely.
yeah. I mean, I don't see anything long term per se happening there.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, if they keep feeding, or getting Biggie involved with serious guys, I guess he remains serious. It's
Mhm.
when they start putting guys in front of him, like, defend your championship against John Morrison or The Miz. People just that kind of step down, that
Yeah,
lower echelon.
yeah, yeah.
That's when things might not look so great.
Right. I mean, for me, you know, we mentioned the Hurt Business coming back, and as great as it felt yesterday, you start looking forward. You're like, right, how is this going to work? Or what was the purpose, or whatever else. So, with that being said, I would have rather it been a thing where they came back during the clash with Goldberg, or you know, when that kind of started up again. That would have made a lot more sense. Or unless they were actually carrying on this whole thing with Bobby Lashley and Big E. Obviously, it's clear that's not going to be the case. With Drew involved, Goldberg involved on the other side. In terms of Drew McIntyre, I didn't think about it as you put it in terms of him going to SmackDown. So I believe it very strong possibility that they'll have their match next week, and then Drew disappears.
Yeah,
Which would be a great thing for Big E to have on his resume of title defenses. So I'm cool with that. You know, Drew's kind of come out of nowhere. It would have probably worked better if maybe Big E issued an open challenge next week and Drew came out, and then
that could work. But why I like Drew coming out, because remember the stipulation was he can't challenge for the WWE Championship as Bobby Lashley, because now the minute the Bobby Lashley thing was done, Drew walked out, and we often say WWE don't do long-term story. I mean, this hasn't hardly been long-term, but there is some story there that they've at least kind of followed through with.
Yeah, very true. And that was the first thing I thought when I saw him come out, but it was still kind of like his whole thing in between him not being able to face Bobby hasn't made me remember that he's there.
Yes,
that's what
correct.
It is for me.
Yeah.
That's what it is. His stuff with Jinder Mahal was just there.
Yeah, it fell flat. They should have had him kind of maybe even just doing vignettes of going mad and just like beating up people, having squash matches, like getting ready and training and stuff like that, so that the minute it's available, he can go after it.
Yeah, or even if it was a feud with the someone like Randy Orton. You know, they're still top of the card type of guy. You know what I mean? So that would have made a bit more sense. But as you said, you know, it's correct that the second Bobby Lashley's out of the picture, Drew jumps back in as, you know, someone who quite correctly is a strong enough opponent for Big E to take on for the WWE Championship. And again, I'm sure Big E's going to win. I don't expect Drew to beat him. So that's going to look great on Big E's resume as in his title defenses. So it's all good. It's all good. Moving on to
before we move on, if you don't mind, also just talking about this kind of draft situations. Got two things.
Yes.
One, we saw Montez Ford versus Roman Reigns on Friday, main event. I couldn't help but think that was an audition for going solo. I'm not ready for the split of Street Profits yet. I'm not inciting that. I don't want that at all. But I just couldn't help but think that was a strong audition with that for a solo run. Do you see maybe anything with Montez, with that split in, Montez and Bianca staying on SmackDown, maybe Dawkins going to Raw? Bro, you know what? I deeped when I was thinking about it. They've done everything. They've won the NXT Championship.
They have.
They held the Raw Championship for like over 300 days. They've won SmackDown Championship. Like, it's what's left for Street Profits.
You know what it is? Everyone for so long has said Montez needs to leave Dawkins and blah, blah. But in the last year or so, Dawkins has done so much.
Dawkins is hard.
Physique, in terms of his in-ring ability, in terms of the way he carries himself, all of that. He's done so much to kind of make sure he's not forgotten about.
Yeah, he's hard. I rate him.
So now for me, I'm not here for the split needs to happen. It needs to happen.
Yeah,
I'm not here for that anymore. I'm here for it eventually. Certainly not in a rush anymore. But at the same time, Montez Ford versus Roman Reigns, bro. The way I felt when I saw that match happening.
Yeah.
I was just like,
he's ready. The boy is ready.
This is a glimpse into the future. Someone's seeing it. Let's go.
Yeah, definitely.
Was it an audition for a solo run? Yes and no. as you just said, he's ready. He could easily go solo tomorrow. It's not a problem for him. I don't think it'd be a problem for him at all. But at the same time, I just don't want to see. It's more so I don't want to see Angelo Dawkins just fall by the wayside. So as much as he's done, and as much as he's, we shout his praises, he will definitely be kind of just forgotten about. I believe. I don't see how he won't. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm good either way. If I'm honest, I'm good either way.
We'll see. We'll see. Obviously, draft starts on Friday night. What's up, Stefan, in the chat? Just one
Yes.
other thing, and I just saw this before we came on live this evening. Hit Row strongly named as a whole faction to get pulled up to the main roster. What's your thoughts on that?
Way too early. Way too early.
Yeah,
just as simple as that. There's no ifs, no buts, no maybes. Way too early.
Yeah.
They are great. Not to say that they're not great, but I think they need to do a lot more in NXT just to establish, to solidify who they are, what they're about, what they do. I'm still, a little upset at the fact that the North American Championship hasn't been defended for so long.
That's true.
So I'm like, right, let's have that, please, and then everything else. We're gonna see the two ladies from, we're gonna see B-Fab and Elektra Lopez go at it tonight on NXT 2.0. Let's have that happen, and then now can we have, Swerve and Santos Escobar go for championship, or someone go for Swerve's championship, because so for them to go get moved to main roster now, I think it'd be way too early for that. Maybe middle of next year, not for now.
I totally agree with you. If there's anyone in that whole picture that should go, I think should be Legado del Fantasma. I think
for sure,
they're more ready and it's a better fit for them. But to be honest, we have to remember with some of these NXT call-ups, as they're going to call them in the draft, this may actually be Vince binning them from NXT. And I don't want to use you down here, like going to SmackDown and sitting catering or whatever the case is.
Yeah, of course.
But like you said, I totally agree. I think it's far too early. Stefan says here in the chat, Swerve Scott hasn't done enough with the title yet, which is completely true.
Exactly that. Going back really quickly, though, to Montez Ford. For a second, earlier today, with Sasha Banks coming back into the picture on SmackDown, Becky Lynch is champion, of course. A part of me actually wouldn't mind if Bianca went to Raw. Yeah. So if that happens, obviously Montez has to follow, basically, based on policy and blah blah blah.
Bianca could be a good challenger for Charlotte.
I think it would, because we're now at that point where we're asking the question, who's Charlotte's next opponent. I've heard that Alexa Bliss is going to be taking time off as well. There's a possibility she's not going to be there as well. So who's left? I mean, they're kind of building Shayna at the moment. Will she challenge in a while? Maybe not straight away.
We're heading into what is like the business end of the season in terms of Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. So they need to start leveling up the level of the challengers for the title for that precious WrestleMania match. So we'll see.
It's going to be interesting. This draft is going to be very, very interesting. I don't think I've been as
invested.
I was going to say excited, but I don't think it's excitement. It's more, as you said, invested curiosity. Like, how are they going to do this? Who they're going to move? Why they're going to move this person? What's it going to turn into? I'm very, very curious to see what happens. Speaking of, obviously, the ladies, and we'll talk about Sasha Banks coming back. Sasha Banks came back, but it's not a comeback because she was gone for 2-3 weeks. And in very mysterious circumstances that no one wants to confirm and all that kind of stuff. And blah, blah, blah. People saying it was COVID, and other people saying it's just Sasha Banks being Sasha Banks. Because she can. But yeah, she's back in the picture. What does this mean for the SmackDown Women's Championship? More than likely, we're getting some kind of triple threat match. Somehow, somewhere.
At least in the short term,
Yeah. Will that happen on Friday and then someone gets moved? Or all three of them staying there, and they're gonna have it out for a few weeks up until whatever, maybe Survivor Series.
Maybe there'll be the token match on the Saudi Arabia card.
Mm,
You know, they don't
true,
do women too tough out there, but
true.
they might have one women's match, and that could be it. That could be like the biggest women's match they could possibly put on,
Hmm.
involving those three ladies. Um, it's good. It's a good thing to have that level of star power on SmackDown.
Hmm.
Raw is definitely missing that right now.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. With like, I'm happy she's back, of course. Like, and just how she just came in and scattered everything. She didn't
Yeah,
care. She wasn't here to side with anyone.
of
The
course.
only thing is, I was hoping that when she looked at Becky threw the little thumbs up, which was kind of funny. I wish Becky threw up the four for four horsewomen,
Ah, that was
and it was
interesting.
like some them lot reuniting
Reuniting,
against
right,
this like new
right,
breed of talents coming
right.
through.
Of
I think
course.
that could have been a very interesting story to tell. And obviously, like I've
Mhm.
said earlier, you know, if we had a horsewoman match on the Survivor Series card, that could be something fun to look forward to.
Mm,
But I mean, it just means there's more stars. Maybe eventually, Becky will beat Bianca clean to
mhm,
defend the championship, and then
mhm.
maybe Bianca and Sasha can just continue their feud without the title, while Becky probably squashes a couple other women on the card and stuff like that. But yeah, or one of them moves over in the draft, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would have rather it been in terms of it being logical. I would have rather it been some kind of ending with Becky and Bianca first, and
Yeah,
then Sasha turns up. For
yeah,
whoever
yeah,
it is, I don't think it really mattered whether just whoever had the championship at the end of it. Was the only thing that really would mattered. I don't think Sasha had anything. I don't think she doesn't actually have anything um to conclude with Bianca Belair, because it's not like it was Bianca Belair that beat her up and then she disappeared.
yeah, yeah.
She just disappeared off her own merit or
Mm.
other circumstances. Um, so for her to go for the champion would be enough, but we are where we are, and it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. If anyone moves over, even if it was Sasha Banks that moved back to Raw,
Run it,
let's
run
go.
it.
Give me Sasha Charlotte. Give me Sasha
Yeah,
Charlotte. I'm good. I
me
don't care how
too.
many times we've seen it. I'm good. With
Neither do I.
Sasha now, it's a very different Sasha to the 8, 10 matches that they've had before.
Yeah, yeah.
Sasha's now had a proper title run, not no 2 week, no defense thing.
Trading it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that she could come with that kind of energy as well, against Charlotte. So yeah, Sasha or Bianca, I believe now, either one of them are gonna get traded. I
Yeah.
believe strongly either one of them are gonna get traded. Um, but we'll see. Speaking of other women, in on SmackDown, we talked about all this greatness of the Black Stars and WWE using our Black Stars in a great way and blah blah. This one's a little bit more of what's going on here, mate? We've got Naomi, who for the last 4 or 5 weeks has been asking Sonya Deville, who is at the moment a WWE official, booking matches and all this kind of stuff, asking her when's my next match. I've come back. I want my match. Sonya Deville's like, yeah, call me next week and I'll do it for you. Sort it out next week. For the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
On Friday, Naomi's taken matters into her own hands and came out into the ring and offered and issued an open challenge. Right, Sonya Deville's taking long. I'm gonna do this myself. Right, I'm ready for my match. Let's go. Sonya Deville comes out, all upset, angry, and whatever else. Like Naomi beat up Liv Morgan or someone, and is like, cut her mic, get her out my ring. Love, you failed to do your job.
Yeah,
Why are you
literally.
getting angry at her for? Typical Karen type of situation, bruv. In the workplace, the black employer is asking for the white employer to do something. The white employer takes long, and the black employer makes up a fuss and says something about it, and then the white employer was like, she's getting a bit aggressive.
The
um,
aggressive card.
she's being aggressive. Can we get her out, please? Security. Bro, this is crazy. What are your thoughts and feelings on this whole situation? Just the story, more so the storyline itself. What kind of message is it giving us?
Like, firstly, I have to say, Sonia Deville is excellent. Like, this is honestly excellent. This is what I call excellent rubbish, because
Yes.
without doubt, they have no direction for this. They don't know what the end point of what they're doing is. And it's literally just like, whatever, let's go with it. Let's get heat on Sonia Deville. Maybe it's gonna be a Sonia Deville return to the ring.
Yep.
That's what it may look like.
It has to be. Surely it has to be at some point.
Yeah, or Naomi should just beat her up backstage and join like, or maybe she gets her influence of her husband and all of them lot to pull some strings for her.
Has a word with Paul Heyman. Heyman has a word with Sonya. Maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, like, but honestly, like, both women are really just playing their part within this like so well. Obviously, this is obviously making Naomi's like an eternal baby face anyway, but this is making her more love. The crowd are getting behind her. They want to see her get her opportunity. Sonia Deville saying cut the mic and everything. It's literally Karen behavior, calling security to come down and get her out and everything. Like, she's doing a great job, but without doubt, they haven't at least been given whatever the end point of this is. Like, they don't know.
Okay. So my thinking is this. So we've got one end of the spectrum where the creative have thought up this little storyline and it's happening and whatever else, and they're a little bit just a little bit what's the word? Just don't get how it looks to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or we have Naomi, who's part of all of this, and she's obviously been told what the storyline is. And as much as she probably doesn't have enough pull to say, right, I don't want to do this, or shall we do it like this? Is she also then seeing, let's do this, let's get people talking, let's be controversial with the storyline, let's do it on purpose?
Yeah.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's ignorance from creative, or do you think it's Naomi purposely saying, all right, let's go with this, let's be controversial. If this means I'm getting more TV time and blah blah, then let's go.
And like you just said, that is the name of the game. Like, we can call this professional wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever we like. The umbrella this sits under is acting.
Yeah. Of course. Oh,
so ultimately, she wants to be on TV. This is a rubbish storyline to bring her back into the fray with.
She hasn't had great storylines ever.
That is very true. This is definitely up there with one of the worst. However, if it's going to put her on TV every week, then yeah, why wouldn't you want to do it? Like you said, she's comfortable in the company. Her husband works there. Probably doesn't want to kick up any fuss. Probably doesn't want to. She's comfortable. You see what I mean? There's no need to, like, she'll get used, TV or no TV. She's getting paid. So to get her on TV, if it means playing this little game of whatever they want to be doing, let's get it done. Like I said, I feel like both women are performing the roles within this pretty well. It's pretty enjoyable to see. I'm waiting. I was waiting on Friday to Naomi when she walked past Sonia Deville to kick the crap out of her.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see where it ends up amongst the two.
Take that last comment. Just read out that last comment from Talk of Champions. It's going to run into something else.
Champions said it's giving black women have to work twice as hard because of all the dewdrop. Because all dewdrop did was ask. That's a very good point.
The point I was going to make is not necessarily dewdrop, but someone like Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair just came out and asked for a championship opportunity. Naomi's asking for a match.
Yeah.
Not an opportunity, just a match. And we get the response that she's had from Sonya Deville, cut the mic and ignoring her and disappearing from her and all this madness. It doesn't look great. But at the same time, I think part of me wants to hope that it's purposely controversial.
Yeah, it 100% has to be, bro. Like, I definitely understand what Talk of Champions is saying,
Mhm,
but
mhm,
yeah, this is purposely to teach a lesson, I feel.
mm, mm, mm,
Especially we have to remember Sonia Deville, she's part of the LGBTQ
mhm,
community.
mhm.
That's their own, underrepresented people in themselves, sort of thing. And
Very true.
they're always told to be quiet, just like us in some aspects of
Mm,
life.
mm, mm, mm.
So I don't think she would be involved in something like this if there at least wasn't a deeper story that's being
Right.
told. So they
Mm, mm.
100% probably are telling that story of um black women or women in general just have
Yep.
to work
Yep.
harder, twice as harder.
Mm,
That awkward relationship between black and white people, and you're free and
mhm.
aggressive, and all of a sudden Naomi gets fined. They're telling that story.
Yeah.
As long
Yeah.
as at the end of the story the right person comes out on top. if if Sonya wins this feud, then it is rubbish.
It's war, bro. It's
That's
war.
exactly it. Yeah.
We riot. Trust me. You know what? For two reasons. For two reasons. I mean, we obviously, we'll get upset because the black person's made to look silly and all the rest of it. But at the same time, it's Naomi once again in just an absolutely crazy storyline where she does not come out on top.
Yeah.
The minimum for me is her being part of the bloodline. If that is not where this is going, bro, I'm sorry. It would just feel pointless for Naomi to be doing anything right now. We've been needing, or I feel she's been needing this change in character, direction, all the rest of it for well over a year now.
Yeah, definitely.
And unless they're looking to really push her seriously, even keeping the glow gimmick, it's not even a bad gimmick. But I just think the change in direction is what she needs just to have creative believe in her again, or have something for her again.
Yeah.
And not so much the fans. The fans are behind her. That's a given. That's not even an issue for her. I don't think. I don't think it ever really has been an issue. If I'm completely honest, it's just we just need something different to give her a new story, to give her a new direction, and go from there. But interesting to see where that's going. It's very interesting to see where that's going.
Yeah. One story. I want to get onto the AEW side of things.
Hmm.
Have you seen Ariane Andrews, Cameron?
Yep.
She actually pitched to Vince to come back to the WWE.
I think she's been trying for a while.
That it doesn't surprise me. And obviously we saw her on AEW not too long ago
Yes. Yeah,
in
yeah,
that
yeah. Earlier
women's
this year.
tournament that
Yeah.
they put on YouTube. But
Mm, mm,
I think even if they were to bring her back, don't call them the Funkadactyls, but put her and Naomi back together, back together as they now have a women's tag division. It could
very
be
true.
something to do in the meantime.
Very true.
For both ladies. Would be interesting.
Yeah,
Would be
it's simple
interesting.
as just a new direction for Naomi. That's
Mm,
that's all it needs. Just a little bit of a shake up, just to give us or creative something new. Um, moving over in terms of what we need, what we want. We need Ricky Starks. He posted a video just the other day. I think it was Sunday.
mm.
A little very clever, creative little skit. He had a bunch of people like on the phone, either to their friends or to whoever it is, saying that they went to a wrestling show and it wasn't that great, and they were missing something, the character, the characteristics and charisma and all that stuff of Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks is not stupid.
Mm.
This is why this guy is I'm going to use the word on purpose. It wasn't even on purpose, but he
Absolute.
is the absolute guy.
Mhm.
I think it's phenomenal. I don't know how well it's been put out there, who's seen it, how many people have seen it, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. But just the simple fact that he's taken the time, effort, money, if it has been, and all that kind of stuff, to put this together and literally answer our questions or echo
Yeah,
our feelings actually.
yeah.
In terms of we
And this
need
is a
Ricky Starks.
man. Sorry, let me just say that this is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
man that's got a job. We're seeing these vignettes, you know, high level, same great stuff from people that are applying for jobs, if you like, trying to get into promotions and stuff like that. This is a man with a job, and this is what he's basically having to do to say, "Hi, I'm here," sort of thing.
This is why sometimes when we say what we say on Twitter, on Instagram, and all the rest of it, and on this show, I'm very intrigued to know how the wrestlers within these companies actually feel. We'll never actually get to know, because at the end of the day, they have to keep their jobs and they can't say too much and all the rest of it, and that's fine. That's where they're at. That's understandable. But as you said, I mean, this guy is creating vignettes on his own terms, with his own money or whatever it is, that are more than good enough to be on any wrestling show on a national level, even a pay-per-view or the rest of it. Answering the questions or echoing our thoughts and feelings that we've been saying for the last, however many months. And yet, he's being put on commentary with a meaningless belt. And also as well tonight, he's on Dark. It's not the worst thing, of course, but against Darius Lockhart, I've already said this on Twitter, but for me, that match is kind of like a bit of a dream match for me. I've seen these two on the indies kind of raise their game and all that kind of things. For them to go on Dark, knowing full well Ricky Starks is going to win. We don't know if it's going to be an actual decent match. It could be a squash of Darius Lockhart, which would just be the worst thing ever. And yes, there's a little hope in this build up towards CM Punk at the moment, possibly. But it's kind of like, one, why is it taking so long? Two, what are you actually doing with Ricky? Why are we waiting? What are we waiting for? And then I don't know. I'm sure you saw my rant on Twitter this morning, following the back of what you responded to, the tweet that I responded to as well. And I'm just like, we're talking about who's ready. Is there anyone that's actually ready? Is there actually a black star on AEW that's ready? Ricky Starks is better than most of the people that are at the top of that card. Let's be very real.
More round, as you know, everything as a wrestler,
All rounded,
from ability to speaking to all of that. Yeah, you're right.
All of that. The most well-rounded guy on that whole, you know what? He actually is the most well-rounded guy on that whole roster, without a shadow of a doubt. And yet, it's him that has to put his vignettes together. I've had enough. I'm quitting.
I mean, like, it comes back. This is the same kind of question and topic we've been asking. I've just pulled up the tweet. I'll just run through it quickly. It was by Wrestling Wizard on Twitter. I'm not sure if I should be giving him credit, but he said there's been a lot of talk about representation in AEW, and I'm all for it. But realistically, who do you think is a black wrestler ready to be in the main events? Do they have a talent who can close out shows with Omega and Mox, etc.? I think Hobbs will eventually get there, but it's going to take at least 3 years. The best black wrestler outside of AEW, in my opinion, is Jonathan Gresham. I don't know about his contract status, but if Tony Khan can somehow get hold of him, I'd say that'll be a black wrestler at the top of the AEW card. He went on to say some other stuff, but like there's multiple issues here. One, if you take Jonathan Gresham from Ring of Honor, then we'll be saying the exact same thing about Ring of Honor. Like there's no black stars. So it's not about taking people from other companies to add more black. There's black people in AEW that we haven't mentioned. That there's quite a lot of black people in AEW.
There's a lot.
Whether that's the indie talents or the signed talents. Secondly, this has never ever been a campaign to get black people into the main events. And let me speak for myself, at least, you know, I have never campaigned for anyone there to be in the main event, because quite like this guy is saying in his tweet, I quite agree. No one is of that level to be a star like that right now.
Not like this week, and you put him against Kenny Omega for the AEW Championship. It's not happening.
Exactly. Furthermore, as black fans, no one wants to see that kind of tokenism. Like, just because we're making noise about it now, don't throw Will Hobbs against Kenny Omega for the title. No, we don't want to see that. Like, all I'm asking, all you're asking, all we have been asking for is for meaningful feuds, meaningful booking to happen. That is it. Like I said in my tweet, Ricky Starks is probably the closest to the top, and he's running around with a title that doesn't mean anything, doing commentary. Now, someone said to me that I think he might be harboring an injury or something, but you're saying that he's got a match on Dark
He's got a
this
match
week,
on Dark.
so I'm not sure
It's
how
obviously already
injured
been, it's
he
already
is.
been taped, of course. If it's on Dark tonight,
Okay,
it's
that's
already
true.
been
Yeah,
taped.
yeah. So I'm not really sure how injured he is then if he's got if he's wrestling matches in recent times.
Right.
Just put these people out there. I was saying to Mike, Kings Road Wrestling, they have something in Jade Cargill.
Yes.
Very much like Britt Baker. They knew they had something in Britt Baker, and it wasn't connecting at first when she was a face. They let her off the leash, and this woman ran ragged on the roster during the pandemic period. The same with Jade. She's been getting a lot of TV time in the way of like backstage promos. Jade made her debut and big impact in the middle of the ring with Cody Rhodes. Send her out there with a mic, even if it's for people to boo her for 5 minutes, like they booed Roman after he beat Undertaker. Like, let them do it, because just let these people off the leash. And I know Jade Cargill's probably next up for the women, but you're holding her back. Will Hobbs had a very good showing this past week. He will be back. We know that. Just put these guys in meaningful stuff week after week, and that is it. Not just sporadically and in meaningless matches.
And here's the thing: we kind of came back to this whole discussion maybe about a month ago. In the last week or so, we saw Red Velvet go against Britt Baker for the championship. In that same week, we saw Dante Martin against Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, who had the AEW Tag Team Championships at the time. Of course, Kenny Omega was the AEW World Champion. And people use that as their leverage to say, oh, but so-and-so's in this match and so-and-so's in that match. What are those two doing now? Answer me that question. What are those two doing right now, bro? Nothing. So it comes back to exactly what we've said for the last 2 months. It comes back to exactly the same thing. This is flash in the pan stuff, and there's nothing meaningful. There's nothing long-term in the minds of creative and whoever else is booking on AEW. I just struggle. I just struggle to understand, one, why, two, why people are so defensive and, can't see what we're talking about. Like, I just don't get it.
It's literally the misinterpretation. Like I said, this particular guy is like, oh, what Black Star is ready for Kenny Omega or Mox.
Right.
No one has said anything about them being in the main event. We just want them on TV. Just put them on TV week after week in something meaningful. We'll talk about if that happens on a consistent basis. Then, if the main event doesn't come, we'll have the main event argument.
Yeah. Of
but
course.
Right now, it's not even the main event argument, because we all pretty much agree no one is ready. Yeah.
It's not even a mid-card argument. It's not even a mid-card argument. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to think that we've got the likes of a Jade, Will Hobbs, Ricky Starks, and Dante Martin. Even when his brother comes back as well, Private Party, all these people who Scorpio Sky with the Scorpio Sky Sonic Ring, Talk Champions have thrown that in there as well. Everything's been flash in the pan for 2 weeks at best, and then they disappear. And the thing is, I'm talking about being ready, and I've said this before. I said it in my rant on Twitter this morning, and I'll say it again right now, so I can put this on Instagram so other people can see it. But how many of your MJFs, Darby Allins, and Orange Cassidy were ready when they first came? Who knew who they were? A very small portion of indie wrestling fans knew who they were.
The same small portion that knew who Ricky Starks was. Right. Knew those guys. So he should have definitely been carried in that momentum when those guys were carried up.
Exactly the same thing. Ricky Starks came into AEW as the former and first NWA television champion in like 14 years. He didn't come as just some unknown. You know what I mean? He came with some substance and his first match was against Cody Rhodes, and he almost beat him. That wasn't enough. You know what I mean? He's done promo after promo that would just been on point, whether it's backstage, whether it's in the ring, all this kind of stuff. And I just don't get why we have to be perfect in order to be on the main roster. And how are we even going to get there if they're not given the chances, even on a mid-card level? Come on. Like, what's going on?
Black Nito says here, ready is so subjective, and it is,
bro.
It is such a subjective word. But when you're lining up these guys' accolades next to each other, you're looking at, this is the next gen. These are the young guys, and Ricky Starks, who we're putting at the center of this discussion, is definitely one of them. The kind of push that we've seen the Jungle Boys get and the Orange Cassidys get and stuff. Ricky Starks, he's I'm sorry, he's above them. He's above them.
Way above.
There's people, a fellow white counterpart wrestlers that I would put above Ricky Starks.
Yeah, of course.
But these particular guys, he's above them.
Listen, I'll tell you this. Ricky Starks is a better MJF than MJF.
Well, yeah.
It's as simple as that, bro. It's as simple as that. Black Nito also says, enjoy AEW, but they miss so many opportunities, especially with Ricky Starks. It's just one of those things, man. It's just one of those things. We just have to wait, be patient, and see what happens. Go on, go.
Let's end with this one from Rashad Lee. I saw it pop up, and it's the goddamn truth. Black people always have to work twice as hard just to get the minimum.
It's as simple as that. And on that note, folks.
That's the one.
I mean, no, let's be real. On that note, that is how we're gonna almost have to end it. Not just because of time, but because this discussion ends with the same conclusion, and that is the conclusion. We'll see how it works. In the meantime, we'll keep watching, trying to support as in the same way that we got behind Will Hobbs when he went against CM Punk. With Big Swole when she had that whole thing with Diamante. What's happened to Big Swole? I mean, she had a match last week still, actually, on Dark, but what's the next step? Ricky Starks, we're hoping that eventually CM Punk will come to him and we'll get something from that. Everyone else, just hope. You know what I mean? But let's try our best to keep supporting just so no one can tell us that we don't support them.
That's right.
So
keep working hard, people.
Exactly. Working twice as hard, and we'll follow you twice as much. Folks, this has been WrstlXtra. You are watching live on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel and listening on affinityextra.com. Someone asked, I'm going to mention this real quick. Someone asked if we are available on podcast very soon. I'm saying it on the show just so I have to do it now. But very soon, we'll be available on podcasts, so you can listen to us whenever you want and whatever platforms you are subscribed to and injected and invested in. Folks, I've been a Dazzle Black Wrestling Alliance on Twitter, Black Wrestling A on Twitter, Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram. This is Mex, WrestleManiac.uk on Instagram, WrestleManiac UK on Twitter. Follow us, keep reading our rants, and we'll be back to say them out loud on the show next week. See you later, folks.
Take care, guys.